Ukraine's President Zelensky, of course, has said that he's prepared to resign if it would seal a peace deal with Russia.
Yeah, he wants NATO membership. We have just seen that Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, a backer of Ukraine, is there live in Kyiv and joins us now. Very good morning to you, Mr. Johnson. This is a bit of a surprise that you've turned up in Kyiv. It's a big day, of course, because world leaders are having this call about what to do about Ukraine. What do you think should happen? What do you make of what President Trump has said? And what would you advise Prime Minister Keir Starmer to say to President Trump this week?
First of all, I think that on what you're hearing from the White House and a lot of people in America about the responsibility for the war and blaming Ukraine, saying Ukraine started it, this is Orwellian, right? You might as well blame the girl for attacking the shark in the opening reel of Jaws. It's just total rubbish. Ukraine is the victim. But if you look at what's actually happening today here in Kiev, there is a very interesting development, because I believe that we're very close to getting this minerals agreement signed between the United States and Ukraine. And that commits the US not only to future financing of Ukraine, but also to a free, sovereign and secure Ukraine under Donald Trump. And that is not to be sneezed at. That's a very, very important commitment. It also, as it happens, spells out in the agreement that Russia is the aggressor in this war. Now, people will say, oh, this deal is extortionate for Ukraine and America is being too rapacious. But not a penny can flow from this investment fund that is going to be set up unless you have a free, sovereign and secure Ukraine. And don't forget, a sovereign country is a great thing. A sovereign country can decide which clubs it wants to join, like NATO. A sovereign country can decide which troops it wants to invite onto its soil to help protect it. And that, to answer your question, Susanna, about my advice to Keir Starmer and the UK, now is the moment for us to step up and do what I think that Trump wants Europe to do, and that is show how we have a plan to help secure Ukraine. And that's going to mean, I believe, UK troops, are going to mean French troops, troops from other European countries. They won't be there in a war-fighting role, but they'll be there to provide a sense of security and reassurance to the Ukrainians in the context of that peace deal.
Mr.
And
Johnson,
that is entirely the right thing for the UK to do.
Mr. Johnson, I just want to be crystal clear about what you've said. You're saying that from your contacts on the ground out there, and boy, have you got contacts in Kyiv, you're telling us that you think that America and Ukraine will sign a deal in the next day or so to give America access to minerals in Ukraine.
It's my hope that they will. I can't absolutely be sure that that is going to happen. There are various drafts that have been floating around over the last few days. The only point I'm trying to make is that when you look at this deal, when you look at what it says in black and white about the American commitment to Ukraine, to the freedom, sovereignty and security of Ukraine, when you look at what it envisages for the long term for Ukraine, that's integration with the West, economic integration with the West, a big partnership with the most powerful economy in the world. That's positive for a country that wants to be free from Russian control. That's positive, in my view, for Ukraine. Now, yes, it is a good deal for the United States as well. But then don't forget what we had to face in 1940-41 with the Lend-Lease deal. We had to give up a huge amount, bases in the Caribbean, in Newfoundland, Bermuda, so on. We got a load of rust bucket destroyers in exchange, and we stopped paying. You know, the UK taxpayer stopped paying back the United States for Lend-Lease in 2006, when Ed Balls was Economic Secretary to the Treasury. So, you know, America has a history of demanding a price for its support. And from where I sit today, where I stand today, I think that price for Ukraine is reasonable. And I hope this deal goes ahead. Anyway, I've got to love you and leave you.
As a former Prime Minister, perhaps you can give us a comment on this.
Yes.
How do you deal with an American president who says that black's white? How do you talk to him?
Well, you've just got to, you've just got to keep knocking the ball back over the net. I mean, this is crazy stuff. But look at and I agree, it's Orwellian. But you've got to look at what is actually being proposed. And I think to a certain extent, there's deal making going on, there's brinkmanship. But when you look at the potential of the agreement, I think that it's positive for Ukraine. And don't forget, the fundamental loser in all that is going to be Putin, because what Putin wants is Ukraine to be a vassal state of Russia, right? What this deal envisages is an economic partnership with America. And the two things are simply not compatible. This is binary. And the United States is giving Ukraine the chance to choose a future with the West and with the United States. And I think that's positive.
OK.
Got to go. Thank you.
Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning, just disentangling himself from
On to the next interview.
our microphone.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
And off he goes.
That's the first major player who's made that prediction.
Yes.
That there is a deal not just down the road, but very much in the offing. And he's right. That would be a massive game changer.
Yeah, and
skin in the game for America.
He is much more hopeful and positive than others that we've spoken to. John Sweeney, of course, this morning thought the prospects for peace were much less optimistic. You saw he just did a selfie there before he goes off. He must be a bit of a hero in Ukraine because, of course,
there are
he's
posters
backed
of
them.
him in cafes, aren't there?
But what's interesting is, if there is a deal to be done, why wasn't it done sooner? Why has it taken this long? Why has it taken 3 years for someone who was a prime minister to be talking so positively now? And it is President Trump who's done that.
Well, if he's right, if that prediction is correct, it will change everything.
Yeah.
We'll be in a different week yet again.